Welcome everyone. Today we've got Licorice from the Golden Guardian. Super excited to have this conversation with him today. Licorice, you know how I like to start checking in. How's your sleep and how's your morning been so far?
My sleep's been pretty good. I think something that usually happens to me in the off season is like for the first couple days, I'm like, I can stay up late now, and then I do it, and then I feel like shit, and then and then like a couple days later, I'm like, yeah, this was a bad idea, but I can't seem to stop myself from doing it every time, so it's just a thing I do at this point.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's understandable. Again, you know, a little bit of a postseason hangover that you get through, and then you'll get back to your routines again. But yeah, I mean, why don't we get right into things with your season only recently coming to a close? Knowing that you had a relatively recent shift to the Golden Guardians, how have you been feeling about your time with them so far?
It's been feeling good. Like, I know the playoffs run was not like it couldn't have gone worse, right? Like once we
Mhm.
qualified for playoffs, 3-0 in the first series we play is like literally the worst outcome. Um, but at the same time, like Cloud9 is a really tough team, and I think we like did a really good job in the season together to like even qualify for playoffs, and like it felt like we were improving the whole time. So I felt good about it, even though the ending could have been better.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, yeah, not the ending anybody wanted, but I think what you hit on there is the fact that you felt like you guys were constantly improving, and even just to make playoffs is I think something that maybe not a lot of people were expecting at the start of the season. So, you know, kudos to you and the rest of the team for the great work that you did there. If you were to think about, you know, something that you might identify as, I guess maybe your favorite part about joining the Golden Guardians thus far, could you pinpoint something? Can you think of anything you really enjoyed about being with this team?
I just think the atmosphere is really good on the team. Like it feels like they have really set up a good culture for having people feel comfortable and helping people to like do their best and succeed as much as they can. It's felt really good since I've joined.
Nice. Well, I mean, almost, I guess, building off of that, like we see roster changes happening all the time in the world of esports, and it seemed as though you managed to really gel with your teammates quite quickly. Sort of what you just said there, I'm sure, is part of it. But are there any other things that you feel like maybe helped expedite that process for you when it came, you know, to you joining the Golden Guardians and really getting into the swing of things?
Um, I mean, there's like I think um like a way that I've grown in a player. I mean, I was just trying to think of the best way to answer this, but I think a way that I've grown as a player is like when I first joined, I was pretty selfish about like, like I wanted to show up, I wanted to look good, I wanted to like ideally be the star, um, and kind of all these things. And I think it's like fairly common, but I don't think it applies to everyone. So I'm just trying to speak from personal experience. And like, I think that's something that I've really worked through my career. And like, I've gotten to a point where I can be more focused, I guess, on like the bigger picture of like I want my team to succeed, and like obviously I want to feel like I'm doing well, but the perception of how I'm doing just doesn't matter as much to me anymore. Um, so I think that kind of mindset shift that I've had personally helped me join a new team like so much, because it's really hard to fit in when like everyone's kind of like, I don't know, fighting for the spotlight kind of. And I think I was really able to take a step back when I joined this team and just try to slot in as best as I could. And I felt really good about that.
Wow, nice. And you know, like you said, I think, you know, for some people that may not have been a mindset at any point, but sometimes that just comes with experience. And, you know, you obviously have a big name for sure. And being able to come in and not have that ego, I have no doubts has really helped, you know, again, especially leading to those playoffs, allow you guys to come together so quickly because it was really quite quick. And those are the types of things that sometimes never happen, let alone in that short of a period. So, speaking of, as a veteran in the League of Legends scene, you know, I'm sure you've seen how the support organizations provide to their athletes has evolved over the years. How's it been for you being part of an organization that, you know, has partnered with a dedicated support team like Adamas? Is this something, you know, relatively new to you? Is this something you've seen more and more over the last few years with the different orgs? What's that been like?
Yeah. So I guess like for my history with sports psychologist kind of work. On Cloud9, they tried a couple different ones, and I think the one who was working there when I left, his name was Gary. He's great, and I believe he's still working with the team. I'm not super up to date on all of that, but I have worked with a fair share of kind of like sports psychology. I think it definitely has a space in the scene. I think it's really important. And I know something we joked about this year on Golden Guardians was that our win rate after we talked to you was much higher than the days that we didn't. And the one weekend that Sam, one of our coaches, didn't schedule the meeting, that was our 0-3 weekend. So we kind of had like the inside joke that like it was all about the sports psychology and nothing else mattered.
Nothing to do with coincidence. I'll take that as a claim to fame, even though, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more luck going into that than I would like to to think. But no, appreciate that. I mean, you know, and obviously the psychology, the mental space that you're in is a big part of you know, preparation and performance. But when it comes to your own personal wellness, what aspect of your life, let's say outside of the game, do you think has had the greatest impact on your in-game performance? Whether this is, you know, the way that you eat, or you know, the way that you know, take your rest and recovery. What do you think outside of the game has really improved your in-game performance?
I think there's two things. I think the first is sleep. I think sleep is just like really important. Like, can't really be overstated how important it is to just like get a lot of sleep and make sure that you feel rested in the morning and like figure out how to do that. And I would say the other thing, actually more than like nutrition or game day routines, was more like I would say I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So it's kind of like not trying super hard to have like the perfect routine every time, and like having space for myself to be like, oh, you know, like this is how I feel today and I'm gonna do my best, and like just not like, oh, like now it's like 30 minutes before the game I like have to eat a snack, and like that it like sort of works, but like sometimes it just really doesn't. So I think the mindset there has actually been the most important thing.
I think that's such a great point. You know, we in the performance realm love to hammer on those routines, but those can quite easily go from an advantage to a disadvantage if all of a sudden it becomes more of a stressor. Because, like you say, if some unforeseeable circumstance comes up and now I can't do my perfect routine, well, does that actually throw me off versus, you know, give me that advantage? So I think that's such a good point, is finding that balance and knowing that the mindset is like, I'm not ever going to have everything go perfectly. So how can I actually adjust in the moment? Um, Thinking about now, you know, minus getting your sleep back to a place that you'd like it to be, what are your main goals or priorities in preparation for next season when it comes to your own health and wellness? So taking the, you know, the technical, tactical side out of it, what would you really like to focus leading into next season?
Yeah, I mean, right now, just starting the off season, it's like the goal is just like figure out how to relax. And like I don't mean that as like, oh, I just need to go relax. It's like no, like I need to figure out how to go relax. Like this is like I think this is something that's actually fairly common among pro players. It's definitely something that I feel is like I really struggle to just like not do anything, to like lie down and take it easy and not like try to be running through tasks or chores or like video games or like anything. So that's like priority number one for me right now, is like get to a place where I can just like chill out, veg out, do nothing, and be okay with that.
Yes.
And then once I'm through that, it's just like I think I have a pretty clear idea of like things I can work on. There'll probably be some like interfacing with my coaches and my team and figuring out where everyone else's head is at, and like when I'm ready to practice, then I'll just be back on the grind.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, I think what you said there is such an interesting point, because it sometimes it's tough to turn off that competition mindset, and it can be easier said than done to just be able to relax. And I think that's, you know, when you look at a lot of high performers, regardless of whether it's esports, traditional sports, business, they plan out their rest and recovery, because sometimes it just doesn't naturally happen. You realize I have been at work for a few weeks, and I still seem like I feel that same weight on top of my shoulders. So um, of course, the COVID world doesn't, make it easy to just hop on a plane and, go to Bali or something and really separate yourself. So I'm sure
Yeah.
there's some additional challenges there. But yeah, hopefully you find whatever it is you're really looking for that'll allow you to yeah, really get some leisure time in, because you certainly deserve it after such a long season. So um, again, coming from the experience you have, any advice for aspiring pro gamers who aren't sure where to start when it comes to their health and wellness? Maybe these are things that you would have loved to have known when you started out. Maybe these are things that you've even just picked up in the last few months. Any advice for those up and comers?
Um, any advice? I mean, I think health and wellness, like I think it's different for every player. Like I've played with a lot of people who are very, very different for me. Like the way they like to practice, the way they like to relax, and like kind of the intensity they bring is totally different for me. So I think the biggest thing is just like do a little research. Like sleep, obviously super important. Just get like at least 8 hours. It's kind of like a given, in my mind at least. And then beyond that, it's like you can do like pre-game routines, post-game routines, nutrition, and it's just like try a lot of things and just pay attention to see what works for you. Because like just because you like read on Twitter that LeBron James does this like pre-game routine doesn't mean it's like actually gonna work for you. So it's like just like get out there, try some things, and pay attention to how it feels. And I think that's like the step that I've had the hardest time with, is to like I'm already, it's like pregame, I'm like stressed, I'm trying to do a pregame routine, and like I don't actually have a lot of space to pay attention. So for me, it like took some time, and I think that's okay too.
I absolutely love that. I think that's just it. Is oftentimes we'll just pick up whatever the latest greatest thing that we see and expect it's going to work. But I think even more importantly, what you said there, that awareness, actually paying attention to, is this paying off? Because who knows how many times, if we're not paying attention, does this actually add more stress? Does this actually distract versus allow me to focus there? And I think that's again such a great point of try things out. If it doesn't work, there's lots of other tools, that might be available to you. And unless you give them a shot, who knows what you might be missing out on. And the last thing you want to do is learn what works for you when it's too late. So yeah, really appreciate that. Last question that I've got for you is, what does the rest of your day look like today? What are you going to do to go try and get some leisure, rest, and recover?
So today I have physical therapy,
Yeah.
and then I am going into the office to go pick up a PC, and that's everything on my schedule. So we'll see what happens after that.
Fair enough. Well, I'll just throw out there, I was lucky enough to actually visit your guys' office just a couple of days ago, and beautiful setup there. I know there's some changes in the works for the future, which all sound really exciting. But yeah, Licorice, thanks so much for your time. Really do appreciate your insights. I think these are those types of things that a lot of those up and comers would love to know. And if you can create a little bit of a shortcut for them to skip out on some of those difficult learning steps you had, I'm sure they really appreciate it. And I certainly know that we appreciate the time that you've taken to have this interview with us.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks so much.